Hello guys and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. We're back in Sulani. I had a hard couple of weeks in my personal life and I swear every time that happens I end up back in Sulani, building on the beach. I think we've learned something about ourselves here. There's something definitely in there for maybe Freud to look at. No, but in all seriousness, I do love building in Sulani and I wanted to do a rental house, take my Sims on vacation, and I wanted to do a family-friendly rental house in preparation for the Growing Together pack. Spoiler alert for this build. I started it a couple days before the pack was meant to come out. I had the intention of finishing it over my lunch break. It didn't end up happening. It ended up being a much bigger build than I had. Like originally it was going to be like a little studio type hut on the beach. And then I was like, oh, but if I add kids rooms and stuff. So sort of the plan for this build and the build plan for this build vastly different, and I didn't really pay attention. But so what ended up happening is I ended up finishing this build the day the pack came out, and for the first time in a very long time, yours truly splurged a little bit and bought the pack day of, which is super exciting. So the last little bit of this build, you'll see me being able to add some Growing Together stuff in. And I also, like I said, I made it a kid-friendly rental to a point, because I wanted to be able to have families come visit the beach here and be able to stay for a couple of days, because I think my gameplay is going to be really family oriented for a while. This new pack seems really cool, and in fact I'm recording this voiceover a little bit in a rush because the faster I get this done, the quicker I can go play with the new pack. I'm very excited and I'm off work finally. So it's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's not exactly an open floor plan. It's set up, there's like a kid's room with 2 single beds, but I didn't do it, like it's definitely like kid friendly, but it's not necessarily kid oriented, because I also wanted you to be able to do like a group of friends come stay here, or you know, a honeymooner set comes and stays here. So I didn't want it to be like throwing kids in your face necessarily, like, and in real life, like, you wouldn't have necessarily toys for the kids to play with and stuff. Even if you had a more kid-friendly rental, you would just have like more kid-friendly colors and stuff. So the downstairs room is set up with lots of yellows. It's very bright and happy. It's a little bit like warmer toned than the rest of the house, a little bit less like, I tried to go for like minimalist and sophistication, but still with like a heavy island theme, and I think we got there. I think I like it, is at least, and you know, it's kind of all that matters on this channel, to be real. Like, if I'm the one doing the builds, as long as I'm happy with them. Anyways, I digress. But the kids' room, or like the room that would be for kids, is a little bit more, a little bit brighter, a little bit more kitschy, which I liked a lot. I tried to go with brighter wood accents outside and darker wood paneling, which you won't see till much later on. And then I tried to kind of almost do the opposite-ish in the house. I ended up going a lot with that orange tone from Island Living, just because I actually really like it. I think it reminds me a lot of my grandparents' home, and my grandparents spent a lot of time in the Pacific Islands and stuff, and so like to me those wood tones, those very warm sort of orangey wood tones, scream like Pacific Islands, even though like that's entirely anecdotal, because I've never been. I would like to go. That is a dream of mine. One day we'll get there. But a lot of my inspiration for islandy type builds is like watching the Brady Bunch, or when they go to like Hawaii, or watching like Aloha builds or things like that. So definitely a little bit more on the stereotypical side when I build these kind of islandy houses. That being said, I think it turned out pretty cute, and I would personally be quite happy to stay in a space like this. It also, I think, has a little bit of an Aulani vibe, which is the Disney Hawaii what's the resort, and that wasn't by intention. You Google like island inspiration of any kind and Aulani comes up, and then all of your ads are for Aulani, and like that's sweet, but do you know how expensive that is? Like, there is no way in heck I'm ever gonna be staying at Aulani. But now all of my ads are like vaguely Lilo and Stitch themed, because it's all Disney, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Except for I was listening to Merengue last night. Now all my ads are in Spanish, which is great because I'm very, very rudimentary in my Spanish. I can basically order a cheeseburger and that's about it. But anyways, I digress. So that was kind of the idea for the build. Kind of this sort of like very stereotypical island. Someone's coming to visit, so they want that heavy-duty theming. There's also no real electronics in the house. I didn't do a TV anywhere. I didn't do a computer, which for gameplay might suck, But realistically, like, for me and how I play with rentals, by the time I'm taking my sim out to a rental, it's because I either want them to work on something specific, or I am, like, trying to get them away from whatever gameplay element is stressing me out. So for me, not having a computer or TV is fine, because, like, if my writer sim is coming out, they're probably bringing their laptop, or if my painter sim is coming out, they're probably packing their easel, kind of thing, or, like, I can add one and then remove it when I'm done. You know, I can make up that gameplay, right? Like, you wouldn't expect a rental to have a PC setup, or you wouldn't expect a rental to have, like, a huge paint setup. You would bring those things on vacation with you. So that was kind of the idea. And I didn't want a TV because why would you watch a TV when your house is on the water and it looks like this? I mean, I used to joke and say, like, oh, wherever you live becomes mundane. Like, and it does to a point. Like, moving here, I spent a lot of time on the back porch when I first moved here, because I have a really pretty view of the sunset over the valley. And so I spent a lot of time on the back porch. And yes, I spend more time watching TV now that I'm almost 5 years into living here, but I still spend a lot of time out on that back porch that I never did when I lived in the suburbs. And so, like, yes, it becomes mundane, but what I've learned is not really. It just becomes a more natural part of your life. Like, when you're like, oh, I should, go sit and be brain dead, I'm tired. Instead of thinking, oh, I should go sit and watch trash TV, I'm tired, you think, oh, I should go sit and listen to the birds on the porch. And so that's what I was kind of imagining here. Like, if you actually chose to live here, which you totally could, it's completely functional, although I would argue you'd have to put probably a computer somewhere. Although I just have a plant under the stairs. You could probably put, like, a little office lit under the fridge, under the stairs. Good night. So there's ways to make this more functional as, like, an actual living space, but as like an Airbnb or something like that, I was like, you're gonna spend your entire time out on the porch. You know, you can spend your entire time out on the deck, or out doing excursions, or going out to eat, or cooking, or things like that. You're not gonna be wanting to watch TV, and even, like, when I'm on vacation, because I used to go spend the summers at my uncle's ranch, which is now, like, 12 miles away, but at the time was an 8-hour drive. I rarely watched TV, or it was even, like, annoying when it would rain and we'd have to be inside and thus, like, watching TV or whatever. I always was, like, out on the porch reading a book, out drawing, doing something. It felt like a waste of time to watch TV. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, it's totally good to be brain dead in front of the TV, but I was like, if you're on vacation, you're not going to be doing that. You're going to be acutely aware of the fact that, like, you only have a certain amount of time. That was a long-winded way of saying there's no electronics in this house. There's no TV, there's no computer. I should have put a radio, and I had intended to at one point, and I didn't. I'm just realizing that now. In the living room, I had intended to put that big stand-up, like, what do you call them? They're, like, the ones that look like dressers. My brain is dead. I don't remember what they're called. I had intended to put that in and completely spaced it, but that would be good in the living room. We might do, this house might go up for, like, a reno in a couple of months, and we'll just do a couple of quick things, or, like, we'll try a different style on it, because I like the layout too. The layout's kind of interesting. The only thing I don't love is that the second bathroom is off the dining space, but the house was looking way unbalanced without it. So, and I wanted a second bathroom, because at first I was just gonna have the one upstairs. The one upstairs seemed kind of tiny to suit a house of potentially, like, up to 4 Sims. And more people could even stay here now with the sleeping bags, but there's beds enough for 4 Sims. And so I was like, that's kind of a lot of Sims for a bathroom. Like, I know in real life 1 bathroom would suit 4 people, like, it'd be tight, but you could totally do it. And, like, day to day, like, American capitalistic style living. But, like, in the Sims, because they take so long and their actions are so deliberate, 1 bathroom for 4 Sims is kind of not the easiest way to do gameplay. It can be a little frustrating for a family type thing. I also went ahead and put an actual door between the kitchen, dining, and the living. I don't usually do that. I'm usually an open concept kind of girl, but I thought that was kind of an interesting touch, and it meant that if you are staying with, like, friends or something and you're on vastly different schedules, like, I'm an early bird, my friends are all night owls, they can be cooking, and that sound won't make it up to the loft space, and it won't make it up to, like, or out to the kids as easily, although it's a shuttered door, so really I don't know how much sound it's truly blocking. But the idea was there of, like, someone could be cooking and it won't disrupt the rest of the house, especially because the living space is really open to the second floor. It's not super open, but there's no, like, sound blocking stuff there. It would probably get pretty echoey, and so blocking off those kind of clangy kitchen noises made sense to me. I ended up, this is where I pick the wallpaper here pretty soon. I'm starting with the couches and stuff, but, like, I'll pick the wallpaper, and this is where the house really starts getting kind of warm, because I did like wooden what do you call it? Is it clapboard or shiplap? It's kind of skinny for shiplap. See, that's where I get confused, because I thought shiplap was the thicker boards, because I thought shiplap was actually the walls where they were made from the ships that came to port. But like now I hear people saying shiplap for like any kind of wood on the walls, and I thought it was specifically the thicker horizontal boards, and originally I thought it was specifically the boards where it came off the decommissioned ships from port. I could be wrong. But anyways, I did like a clapboard. I basically put siding on the wall, but I think it looks pretty cute. I'm pretty happy with it, and I did, like I said, all kind of very neutral wood tones. I wanted this house to have a strong vibe, but not a very strong, overpowering personality, and I think we got there in the end. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I really want another leaning mirror. That leaning mirror is so helpful. It is such a good piece. I wish we had a second one in like a slightly varying style. I don't even necessarily care what style, as long as it's not like super niche, but even like a more contemporary one would be great. I would just love a second one, because I wanted to put that in the kids' room as well. I thought it would be a really cute touch, and it ended up obviously like duplicating it, and then I was like, I can't do that, you know. So I decided not to, but I would love just like a second kind of mirror. Also, it would be nice to have maybe a more contemporary one, just because that one is a little bit stylized, and so there's certain applications where I'm like, a tall mirror would be great here, but not that tall mirror, you know. And like the other ones, we have a bunch of mirrors and they're great, but they're like flat against the wall. They're like meant to be hung up. They don't look like they're leaning, and it would be really nice if they leaned. I personally really like the leaning objects we have in this game, like the paintings and stuff, because I do a lot of brickwork, and you can't really hang things on brickwork very easily. I know command hooks say they can, but like it's hit or miss. So I struggled so hard. So originally I had this idea of like this really pretty like white and sort of like off peach room, but what I ended up wanting, and I spent a lot of time, I left this part in, I ended up not doing this, so don't get excited about the theme of the room yet, but I left this in because I found a couple of cute headboard options that I was actually really excited about that didn't go with the room, so I ended up not going with any of them, but I thought, well, maybe someone will see them and get kind of excited about this idea, so I left them in so y'all could see. But originally what I had wanted to do was like sort of an off peach and cream room, kind of somewhere between the peach that came with Island Living, like that color palette, and this color palette, but not quite as like baby pink. And then I stuck with these beds for a while because I like the pattern on the bedspread. This would be one of those houses, honestly, because I did the same thing with the couches, where like there was a part of me that was like, what if I just took this pattern, like went into Sims 4 Studio, took this pattern off this bed and put it on the bed I want to use. And seriously, like one day I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna go through and like free the duvets, right? And just put the duvet patterns across all the beds. I bet that would be a ton of work. But like, I guess if you did it slowly and you just like went through like one day and grabbed all of the duvet patterns, and then I guess they're different, like, because some have the foldy bit and some don't have the foldy bit. I don't know. Now I'm thinking this project through. But like, I bet you could still make it work. It would just look a little different. I don't know. Anyways, what I was gonna say is it would be great if someone just went through all of the beds and stole like all of the duvet patterns and then put them back on all of the bed frames. Because like this bed would have been great, and this pattern, and then you could add more. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna keep this idea to myself and then either work on it or you'll never hear about it again. It's the same thing I say with the wallpapers all the time. I'm like, if this wallpaper came in a different color, it'd be great. One day, if I just all of a sudden make a video and I'm like, hey, I have a Tumblr and here's a bunch of nonsense I made, you know what happened. I'm always like remiss to do CC stuff though, because I can't do, well, I'm sure I could with enough practice, but I've never sat down to learn Blender and learn how to make my own meshes and like mapping for shadows and things. It's something I want to learn, but it always, like, it feels very mathy and very serious, and like after work, very very rarely do I want to do mathy serious things. I really usually want to sit and just play The Sims. But so I like recoloring and stuff because that's really easy. That's just finding a pattern and putting it on a bed, or finding a new wood tone and putting it across. Maybe I'll do the recolors that I want, and I'll just like release them to you guys, that way I can build with them and just be like, here's the pack, this makes your house work, go. Oh goodness gracious, because I always say like, oh, I don't want to put CC in my builds because I want to make it easy to download, and then I use like 80,000 packs and it's not easy to download anyway. And I know that comes from a place of privilege, and I'm very, very excited and happy that I am in a space where if I can't get the pack, usually a very sweet family member will, for my birthday or Christmas, get me the pack. And I'm very lucky that I still live in an environment where my birthday gifts can be video games at 26 years old. I'm glad I have a family that understands that too, because I have some friends where like their family is like, you need to stop. You're 27, like it's time to grow up. This chick is never growing up. I'm gonna be that mom who's like, hey, do you guys want to blow off homework and do Mario Kart tournaments? Let's do that. It's because I was always the one who was like, what if we just played video games instead? My parents were great though too. So part of it was I was homeschooled, so like all of my work was homework, and also none of my work was homework. But like for many years of my childhood, every Saturday night, pretty much no matter where you were in your homework, I mean, like if you had a project due or something, you could work on that instead. But like we would always take like an hour or two after dinner. Mom would make like hamburger helper or something yummy and warm, and then we'd all go sit and curl up in front of the GameCube, and we'd play Bomb on Blast until somebody was upset. It was so much fun because my little brother, he was like actually exceptional. He's one of those who was like, fancy and ranked and doing tournaments for a while in his youth, with Call of Duty and stuff. And then there's me, who's like the horribly inept casual gamer. And then my sweet mom, who, God bless her, is like, she loves playing video games. She has fun with it, but like the controller, we've tried inverting it and stuff. There's something that would make the controller to brain connection work better, and we haven't figured it out yet. And then there was my dad, who like grew up playing on like the Game Boy and stuff. And so like all very vastly different play styles. And so like my poor brother would be like, this strategy works normally, and we'd be like, yeah, except you're playing against a bunch of inept humans. And we still every once in a while will play Mario Kart. It's pretty fun. Now we play it on the Switch, which is really fun. And we've gotten big into Minecraft too. Minecraft is kind of our family game of choice right now, because we can play it, because when I moved out, obviously I have my own Xbox, my brother has his own Xbox, and my dad, we realized very quickly, always played on ours, so he got his own Xbox when we moved out, and then we all moved back in. Now we have 3 Xboxes in one house, which everyone walks in and they're like, oh my god. But I'm like, you have to realize, it's no different than a roommate situation. Like, you wouldn't necessarily probably share an Xbox with a roommate, right? Like, you'd move in with your own stuff, and it would stay in your room. I digress. Anyways, we play Minecraft because we can play across, devices, and I'll be cozied up in bed and playing and yelling at each other. And we recently got my dad on Discord, which is the funniest thing. We hooked him up on his phone, so he can be on Discord now so that we can chat from our respective rooms. And it's so funny because, his way of using Discord is calling me and being like, okay, make it talk. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But it's really quite fun. This is some of the new tiling from the new pack. So I think this is the first room that I did when I had just downloaded Get Together, because I literally got it for work, sat down, and before signing into work, waited and went and checked on the pack, and it wasn't out yet. And I was like, I still said pre-order, and I didn't want to pre-order because I've had some bad luck with that. And so I was like, I'm just gonna wait until it says ready to purchase. And so I sat down, I went to work, I tried really hard not to think about it, and then my lunch break came around and I immediately was like, is it up? And it still wasn't up. And I was like, And so I set a timer and I went back to work, and when the timer went off, I took my little 10-minute break and I went and checked and it was ready for purchase, and I hit download. And then I went around to everyone in my house and I was like, nobody touched the internet. I want the fastest possible download speed so that this is ready to go when I'm off work. And it was. I haven't played with it yet though, because I'm going on call, and so I can't record or do anything when I'm on call because it's you're constantly online. And so I was like, but I can play games because I can just pause the game, right? That's a lot easier. And so I was like, okay, I have to get a bunch of recording done, and I have to do a bunch of outside stuff today because it's a lot harder to do big chores when you're on call, because you have to be able to leave stuff in the middle, and with horses you can't really just leave in the middle, And so I've been trying to get a bunch of stuff done so that this upcoming week and a half of on call, I'm not gonna fall massively behind. But tomorrow, I think, or maybe tonight, we'll see. I get to play. Very excited. I'm just rambling now. I haven't talked about the build in forever. I'm sorry. This is just Amanda talks about her life for 20 minutes, and you guys watch a build at this point. The deck is kind of sparse. I really struggled with the deck situation because I knew I wanted a dining space, and I thought I wanted a round table. Those chairs are new as well. And then I wanted a barbecue, but I didn't want a big fancy barbecue. It didn't feel like the right space. You can see me fiddling with it for a while. And also I didn't realize that window was off. Off, what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say kilter, that's not right. It's uneven on the outside. And so it kind of throws it off too, to do the big kitchen. Although I guess I could have done, now that I'm staring at it, there's a way to have made it work. But anyways, I digress. So I ended up going kind of small and then just putting some loungers out there. And I think it kind of works because, again, there's this idea of, like, it's a rental space. Like, it's not supposed to be super personalized. This is another situation where, like, I love that pattern on those, the pillows. And, like, I wish I could have stuck them on a different couch. Like, I love that couch, too, and it's fine outside. But I wanted those pillows inside. Because they're like a very pretty sort of, I think they're supposed to be like a banana leaf pattern. And I really do love that. And then I just went kind of crazy with this big island living bush because I kind of wanted to hide the stilts while still making it very apparent that this was a stilt house. So I just sized them up and like stuck a bunch of this around. And then I kind of tried to hide the mailbox. I did the werewolves mailbox because I thought it kind of made sense. And then I stuck the trash can out there. But here's the screenshots. I think I'll go ahead and let you go here and let you enjoy, since I've literally been rambling about life now for 20 minutes, which is just insane. At some point, I'll either get better at this or y'all will get used to me. But I hope you're having a great day. I hope you enjoy this build and that maybe it makes it into your game and you get to play with it. I hope you all that are able to get it are having fun with growing together, and those that are waiting for a birthday or Christmas or something, I hope you get what you're wishing for. And I'm betting it'll probably go on sale like in the summer sale or the fall sale too, which will be good. But I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're feeling loved. If you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you, and I mean that truly. I'm very glad you exist, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we get to have a Sims community that's so warm and inviting with you in it. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye-bye!